oftentimes in today's Thursday, guys, we normally do tools, and occasionally we like highlight somebody. So Thursdays are a bit like squidgy on theme, and as we try to find a theme that we can land on. But something surprising happened. So a month ago, I wrote 2 booklets for my like prospecting total addressable market. One was about different ways to think about messaging and marketing and advertising with a sort of a copywriting scheme to it. And it did really well. Like it did really, really well. I have no complaints about it. But the second one I wrote, which was even shorter, looking at it, as soon as I finished writing the last word in that, I should have looked at that and say, this is going to be way more popular than the first one, even though the first one was closer to my heart. The second one, because the second one was all about, well, here it is. I'll show you the second one.
Is that way more popular with an E after the Y?
Everything I do with way
is way more popular. Yeah, okay. Just checking.
So the first one was also targeted at CMOs and fractional CMOs. Targeted as in it's written for them about things that they will care about and do care about. Mm-hmm. But the second one is basically how to make more money. Isn't it shocking that became the more popular one? Like by far.
How is that possible?
How does that even happen, right? I don't know what to tell you. But I mean, the feedback I got on this one was crazy. People are sharing it all over the place. People are emailing it to other people.
Cool.
It's just on a website, and I let people, it's just a link, and I let everyone download it for free. There's no charge for it.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
The playbook.
But it really is, yeah. It's basically a 7 step. It's not like make a phone call and do X. It's like before you do any of that stuff, let's think about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it and why, and then you can go and start doing outreach. Because everyone starts as unique, but they're not special. Literally, everybody is unique. Not many people are special, and almost no one who is special in a business sense, who doesn't think about how they're going to be special and then communicate that specialness.
I feel special.
No one will be surprised that the number 1 lesson is about the horse lady. Just in case there's anybody left who doesn't understand the story of the horse lady. It comes down to this. Everyone in business who looks at vendors looks at more than one. They look at least a handful. It might even come in waves, and there's a handful and then another handful. Right? Very, very few people go the little bit of extra and put in the little bit extra effort, even though it doesn't really cost anything, to think about how they're going to stand out, what they're going to do, what angle they're going to take, just how they're going to be memorable 24 hours after someone reads your email or sees you on a website or sees you in a podcast or whatever. Virtually no one puts in the little bit of extra effort. Now, I don't know I legitimately don't know if it's because it's hard or because people don't think about it or people don't feel that it's necessary.
And I think they're kind of lazy, actually, and they're afraid of sticking out, like a whack-a-mole type of thing.
People are afraid of sticking out. Rory Sutherland has that great quote in one of his books that I may have seen it. Rory Sutherland is one of the lead guys at Ogilvy in the UK, like one of the big global advertising firms. He says, in marketing, there's no safety in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the middle of the pack, not only are you hard to find and hard to see, but there's no way by definition, you haven't broken out.
Mm-hmm. You're blending with the herd.
You're blending in, right? You're a zebra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the whole point of the horse lady story, because these are all just like 7 little vignettes, is that you need to take some time and think about why you're the horse lady following along in the pattern of what this lady did. That you need to be memorable the next day. The next day, when they think about the 5 people that they looked at yesterday, the other 4 will get amalgamated into sort of one persona, and then there's you. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean you're going to win all the money. Doesn't mean you're going to get every sale. But A, you will be remembered, and B, you will get a disproportionate amount of the total money relative to just being one of 5.
Cool.
You're not for everybody, and everybody's not for you. But if you don't stand out and you're not remembered the next day, you get virtually no one of the people who are for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Secondly was the Halo initiative. We've talked about this before. It has to do with around pricing and stuff. Basically, what it comes down to is, so the number of small businesses, especially, and like solo entrepreneurs and stuff and freelancers, the percentage who actually like come up above the great mass of people in their field and focus on a niche. And the niche can be anything, right? I focus on this city or this state or this part of the country or this country, or clients at this size or clients in this industry. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to slice and dice it, but the percentage is relatively small of the people who even go that far. But there's a level above that. And basically, you're looking at the people who've picked a niche and you're saying, you know what, I will specialize in doing what they can't do, either because it's too complicated or they have a cost structure that you, for some reason, don't, and you can do it cost effectively and they can't, or something that the others can't do or won't do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when people like follow down that line of logic and I talk to them, we go through our workshops and stuff, one of the questions that comes up is, so I'm only going to do the Halo niche stuff. And I say, in reality, no. Relatively little of, I've used relatively a lot in the last paragraph. After what?
It could be
No.
relevant.
The answer is no, right? The point is, you're in a specialty that's above the other specialties. And most of the work you do will be the regular work, the same that everyone else is doing, but you get to charge your ultra specialty rate for the regular type of work. In other words, if a hospital was short-staffed that day and they needed an appendix removed and they had to call on a neurosurgeon to do it, the neurosurgeon knows how to remove an appendix. Every first-year surgical resident learns how to remove it, or every like junior doctor, let's call it, right? But he or she is going to charge neurosurgeon rates.
Exactly.
It's possible because you just hired a neurosurgeon to take out an appendix when virtually any surgeon can do it.
Right.
Now, if you're a neurosurgeon, that's ultra specialized, and you probably don't want to be doing appendectomies very often. But you charge Halo rates for regular work. And a lot of your work, for most of us, is going to be quote unquote regular work. But the idea is, if someone has a niche in whatever, like graphic design, and someone has a Halo niche in graphic design for extremely complex machinery, as opposed to just logos and stuff on the
Right.
I, as a customer, I assume that if your specialty is logos, that you can do logos. I assume that if I hire you at a Halo niche to do extremely complex drawings and graphics and stuff, but then I also find out I also need a logo done, I can go to you and say, hey, I also need this logo done. I assume you can do the lower level stuff because you're doing the higher level stuff. I don't assume that if you only ever talk about the lower level stuff, you can do the higher level stuff. So you can go down, but you can't go up in the customer's mind.
Yeah, it's like you're hiring Michelangelo to, make a drawing for your kid's birthday party.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he could handle it.
Yeah, probably.
Knowing, having read up on Michelangelo, convincing him to do something he didn't want to do would be quite a feat. But he could.
Yeah.
If he can do it, right? So that's what a Halo niche is. Like, you get to charge Halo rates for regular work because you're the person that they know can do both levels and not just one. It's super handy as a fractional CMO to have a Halo niche. If you specialize in new product launches or a particular flavor of growth marketing or digital marketing, or you do something that's tougher, a little more esoteric.
Maybe you specialize in e-commerce for supplements,
right?
Which is a really tough market.
Yeah. Right. One of the things that I specialize in is writing for live audiences. There are very few copywriters who write for live audiences. If someone can write for a live audience, whether that's a speaker in a webinar or a salesperson in a conference room, talking to 3 other people and trying to get to the next deep dive meeting, then that person can also write a blog post. I don't like writing blog posts, but I could. And they wouldn't necessarily go hire a person to do that when they could just say, well, could you do this for us? But I'm charging rates.
Yeah.
I'm not charging the lower rate because it's easier work.
Right.
All right. Secret question. In B2C, the secret question is, I mostly deal with B2B, but in B2C, the secret question is, how do I know I won't regret this purchase? But in B2B, it's how do I know it's safe for me to vouch for you in here? Because it doesn't matter how much money you're saying you're going to make your client if they bring you in. It doesn't matter how much money you say you can save your client if they bring you in. If the person bringing you in, whether that's like the senior VP of marketing or the CEO or whoever, depending on the size of the company and the titles, if they think that there's a chance that you're going to blow up and get them fired, it doesn't matter how much money you can make or save that customer. They're never going to vouch for you. Or if you say that you can do something in 3 months and they start to suspect it's going to take you 12 months, that's a big hit to their reputation. Also not worth bringing you in. You're not safe to vouch for. So while almost no one is going to ask you that question, how do I know it's safe for me to vouch for you in here? No one's going to ask you that directly because that's not a corporate purchase kind of question, right? How do I know I won't fuck up my own career by hiring you? That's really not something you ever talk in a vendor meeting with all kinds of people around, right? But if you don't have an answer for that and are able to like weave in your answer to other presentation materials you're doing, then it's the number one, it's obstacle zero, right? It has to be done. You have to clear that obstacle before anything else gets decided. And if you don't clear it, someone else does, they're going to get that business and not you.
So this is essentially like overcoming objections in advance. Like you may be wondering what my delivery schedule is, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, sort of like that. You may be wondering like how I know. I mean, ideally you say, now you making and we've talked about the scale and being assertive versus selling from your heels or being too aggressive on the other end, right? And you might have a point in your presentation. So we've said that this takes 90 days and by 90 days we will have X done. How are we able to make that kind of assertion? Here's why. Like experience, other customers, testimonials, special insights, special mechanisms, special software, whatever, right? But yeah, you need to clear this obstacle or you will get nowhere.
Now, if you deliver early, are you setting yourself up for an unreasonable expectation?
No, not at all.
But you'll be looked upon as the hero.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. After that, this one I get pushback on once in a while. We really have to work it through. A value prop is not equal to your price, right? You can't charge more by offering more value. As on a one-time transaction, you might. This is the whole like add-on. It's like, oh wait, there's more. You get these Ginsu knives, and you get a free oil change, and you get a back massage. Buy now, right? For one-off transactional kind of stuff, you can get away with that. But you want to be overvalued. Right? You want them to not understand how much you're worth. And so whatever you say someone like you charges, well, you're the only one like you. So someone like you charges exactly what you charge because there's no one else to ask about what you charge. So by now you've got your horse lady, like your angle, right? Your story. You've got your, you've thought about how you're going to clear the question about how do I know it's safe for me to vouch for you in here? You've got your, what's the other thing we did there? You've got your halo niche, right?
Right.
So what you're doing is you're building up your own story so that then you can then tell them their story with you in it. But you're building up your story so that you are very hard to compare to others. Because most of us, pretty much all of us, are mostly like everyone else. But you need to be hard to compare. Anything that's easy to compare costs less. Because the ability to compare drives down prices. There's a reason why, unicorn companies and biotech companies and all this stuff, they're way overvalued. Their stock price is way overvalued on Wall Street, right? If Wall Street can't figure out, what you are exactly and put you in a box, then they assume that you're worth more than you otherwise are. So don't worry about figuring out how to offer more value. Figure out how to be unique in a way that matters to a customer.
Reminds me of the We Crashed series on Apple TV.
Oh yeah, exactly. Way overvalued.
Way overvalued.
They're calling themselves a tech company, and they were just like a real estate company, and should have been compared to every other real estate company.
Yep.
All right, the three competitors everyone's up against. This is 5 out of 7, so we're almost there. Right, you're up against the giant or the well-known brand name. You're up against the incumbent, like what we already have or what my buddy uses, or I came from another company that used this product, so we can use that one. And the inertia, right? It's in all B2B decision making, things move slow enough that it's almost never dangerous to not make a decision today. And when you're going to go in for your pitch, and we're at the point now where you sort of like fine tune your story, your angle, your halo niche, and so on. Now we're at the pitch level. You need to be able to deal with these objections, these real competitors. Don't ignore them, especially inertia. The biggest one of these is not the giant, right? It's the inertia. Because in B2B, in B2B sales, there is no scarcity, right? And so you can't get a decision pushed through quickly because of any sort of scarcity. In B2C, you can do scarcity. Right?
But how is that true with B2B and there's no such thing as scarcity? I mean, if there's a first mover advantage or something.
Let's say I'm selling a content management system. Mm-hmm. I'm selling whatever, right? There's no scarcity. If my pitch on November 1st in a meeting, if I'm trying to like get a decision made by that client, a purchase decision made by saying, if you buy by the end of this quarter, then there's an additional 10% discount. Mm. Doesn't matter. That person can do a Heisman. You know what I mean in sales? You know the sales term, do a Heisman or give someone the Heisman.
Like the Heisman Trophy?
Yeah, like basically they're like keeping you at arm's length, mm-hmm. right? Salespeople hate that. They're like, I can't get closer. They keep radio silence, Heisman, all that stuff. So if that client ignores you and gives you the Heisman for the rest of the quarter, which is the rest of the year, comes back 9 months later and say, all right, now we're ready to buy and we want that 10% discount. You're going to give it to them.
Really?
Or else they're going to get it from another competitor anyway.
But what if your rates have gone up, your success, your track record and everything is just...
Good luck with that.
All right.
Talk to anyone who's done like B2B or enterprise sales. Good luck with that.
Okay.
There's no scarcity because they know there's no time scarcity. Because by definition, you can't say that you're going to run out of something or something's only going to exist for a certain amount of time. The implication is you're only, as a company, going to exist for a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. And then I'm definitely not going to buy from you.
Yeah, because
especially since you failed the question of how do I know it's safe for me to vouch for you in here.
Right.
It's all in a circle. It's all connected.
Oh, all right.
So you can't do time-based scarcity. You can't do resource-based scarcity. I've only ever been able to use scarcity in B2B in a very specific circumstance and help them figure out how to do it. And it was this. It's a company, a small company, that offers a specialized service-based offering. Mm-hmm. And they said, we're basically artisans in this field. And we only take on 12 projects a year. That's all we can handle. If we added headcount, it would just bring down quality and ultimately bring down prices. And we're not on the volume track. We can only do 12 projects a year. We have slots for 4 more.
So this is a boutique approach?
Yeah, basically. Okay. We're not going to grow or scale just to add on more clients. What we have now, we really like, and we're very proud of our work, and our clients love it. Mm-hmm. And this is why it costs X, but we only do X amount per year. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not on the train or under the umbrella as one of the 12 for this year, the earliest you can get in is next year. You miss the train, you got to wait for the next one. It's the only instance where I found it to be consistently successful.
Maybe this is why I like B2C.
Yeah. With B2C, you have all kinds of options.
Yeah.
All right. And then have we talked about the 4 types of pushback before? 4 types of resistance?
I don't remember.
No, I did it in a talk I gave to a bunch of CTOs, Chief Technology Officers, especially around scrutiny. They have a particular, in any kind of tech company, a CTO has a particular sales role that they're usually not comfortable with. But it's mostly because they don't know how to proceed and they don't have a framework for where they fit in. Mm-hmm. By the way, if you're a CTO watching this, the resistance that you fix is scrutiny. That's your job, is to take care of that one. But anyway, distrust of claims, everyone in marketing, every CMO and fractional CMO I talk to is very familiar with distrust of claims. There's not a person in the world who doesn't distrust advertising or sales claims.
Depends on what degree too. So
yeah, but I mean, we've all been conditioned for our entire lifetimes to be skeptical about advertising claims, right?
Yeah.
And so uh, uh, the really it's very hard for a fractional CMO, let's say, who's pitching a new client for an engagement to get past destructive claims. The only way that I've ever found to reliably do it is to double down on the scrutiny. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Inertia, if they're not sure what to do or they don't feel a sense of urgency, then they push back. This might be for me, but not now. Or this is not for me. I don't want to think about this right now. I don't want to deal with this right now.
This reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is indecision leads to perdition. So you get total annihilation by doing nothing.
Right. Or as I put it here, the confused mind does nothing, because that's what we say in copywriting, right?
Right.
Reactance, we've all felt reactance. If you've ever been in any kind of like, oh yeah, I can totally listen to this sales pitch around timeshares or a car, right? Reactance is where the salesperson is like asking you questions or taking you through a process where you can feel your future options clamping down and going away, where they're trying to pigeonhole you into one thing. Mm-hmm. And everyone hates that feeling. There is a way around it, by the way.
So I mean, but you were coming in as a unicorn in a herd of zebras, or what's the deal there?
For reactance, so how does reactance work, or how do you overcome it?
Well, overcoming it, that you have to.
You overcome reactance by painting a positive future where the options that you're taking away from your prospect wouldn't matter. So instead of like having it feel like you're pushing them down into a smaller and smaller entity with no room to move, you're actually showing them, look how glittery this beautiful thing is. And you're like, this is a canal, not an ocean. There's walls on either side. We're taking you there.
Got it.
You have to be done carefully, but boy, is it powerful if you work with someone who knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the scrutiny, right? And this is the part in a presentation. This is the only part in a sales pitch, for instance. If you've got a 20-step process or 100-component, examination quiz that you put people through, this is the only part of your pitch where you deal with it. And the whole point of this is you want to slightly overwhelm the prospect. You want to slightly overwhelm the audience. You want them to understand there's a lot on this screen. There's a lot on this slide. The main takeaway is I'm being transparent with you. You could theoretically screenshot this or take a picture of it and like build this whole thing yourself. But let's face it, I've done all the work. I've done all the thinking on this, and you can just give me money and shortcut to the positive future. So why not do that? But those are the 4 types of pushback you get, and you need to be ready for all 4.
Do you want to get screwed by scrutiny?
What's that?
You don't want to get screwed by scrutiny.
No. The other thing is, the more work someone has put into, or a firm has put into their tech, their product. Oh, I've got a typo there. It's a comma instead of a period. It's not good. I doubt anyone's ever noticed, but I've noticed.
You've noticed.
But the point is, the more work and the more sort of like technical or specialized a firm is, the more they want to make the entire pitch about the scrutiny part. And it's a mistake. You basically need to clear all of these other 3 first. These are in order. And then, it's distrusted claims, and then it's inertia, and then it's reactance, and then it's scrutiny. You could switch around reactance and inertia a tiny bit once in a while. Destructive claims has to come first, and scrutiny comes last. It's almost the very last thing you think about. Now, it might be like 40% of your entire pitch, but most people or firms that have done something technical, or consultants that have put, our model is amazing, it covers every scenario. They want to make, instead of 40%, they want to make the scrutiny part, here's how it works part of their presentation. They want to make that 95%. But that's a bad idea. That belongs in the second deep dive meeting, not in the initial, you should put me at the top spot in your selection list meeting.
Look at my lovely horse.
Yeah. And then the order matters, right? And we go through this over and over. Everyone wants to start their messaging with, what should I say and how should I say it? The how should I say it part, they think that's what marketing is. Anybody can figure out what should I say or what do I want to say. And then how should they say it? That's where I'll get a request. Can you do some wordsmithing? A word that I despise, by the way. Hate it. But again, it's still the wrong thing. first you need to figure out how you're going to be remembered the next day. Because if they watch it and then it's gone out of their heads 10 minutes after you stop talking and they never think about you unbidden again, right? You should be able to pop into their head without you actually like doing a touch point. So first you need to put in the effort to figure out how to do that. And then you need to figure out how to make sure that you can get back if they wander on or they're interrupted, get back their attention during your communications with them, your pitch or whatever, right? And then you figure out how you want to say it. And then you decide on what you want to say. And what you decide to say will be heavily influenced by the first three questions.
So be memorable, capture attention, and then figure out your
Be memorable,
get
and keep their attention, right? Figure out how you're going to say it, how you're going to align the main points of your message into the shape that their brain and their attention and their memory is going to have. And then you said, okay, well, given all that, I do want to say this. I probably don't need to say that until like a more deep dive meeting, because it might actually bore them enough that their attention starts to wander.
Can you overcome some of these things with a really well-constructed VSL?
You can.
I mean, probably not within tech, I guess.
You overcome almost all of it as long as someone understands how to write for a partly interested, full of skepticism audience. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
Like, no one cares about you. Everyone is leading a full and complex life, and you are not part of it.
Not even with my pony?
Not even with your pony.
I'm sure.
The whole point is to become something novel and memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, back into it. If you do a good enough job, they'll convince themselves to buy.
Mm-hmm.
After you've after the Zoom call is over or you've left their building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like,
Elvis has left the building.
So there you go. Those are the 7 points. And it turns out like this is by far way more popular than the other one.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Also, it's free, which for many people is their favorite price. It's one of my favorite prices. Of all possible prices, free is one of my top 5.
For sure.
Yeah.
As a marketer, I like the $1.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll pay a nickel. I'll
A
give you
nickel. Yeah, as long as I capture that credit card for that nickel. Of course, the processing fee is probably greater than the nickel.
So 7 lessons. Once you've got all that lined up, you can just like fill in all of your detail on what you do. As like, let's take the fractional CMO example, like what you do and how you do it.
Nice.
Right, because you now have the right shaped bucket to put it in, the right shaped swirly straw that's going to work for this.
Crazy straw.
Crazy straw. Super crazy straw.
Candy straw.
Not a paper straw.
Oh, now I can get us back to something like regular.
There you
Regular.
go.
Whoa,
I don't like that one. How's that one?
that's
pretty
nice.
good.
I like
Yeah.
that.
What's this
And-
do?
Oh.
Hey, what you
Hey.
do to us?
I'm just clicking options under the screen. I don't
Just
know if you guys see these options or not, but
So, yeah, we see all of them. So.
Hey, we probably should say hi to our friend Cassandra, who's
Yeah,
been viewing.
Cassandra is a devoted follower.
yeah, I just want to make something clear to everyone who watches right now.
Yeah.
We do not actually pay Cassandra
No,
to show up
No.
to these things.
No.
She insists on showing up and giving us her attention anyway. I hope we haven't met Cassandra. I hope you're getting something from it and it's valuable for you.
oh, she
And thanks
definitely
very much
does.
for attending. But it's not the worst idea in the world to pay people to show up to these things, but why would you, right?
Ringers.
Yeah.
Your favorite price is free.
It's a clack. You know what a clack is?
A clack? What's a clack? Click and
CLAQUE.
CLAQUE. No.
A clack is it's. I think the concept
It's
started
different
in
than
either
a-
Italy or France. No, it's paid audience members who come to applaud to like a
Clack.
play or an opera. It's like a
Oh.
thing.
Oh,
It's not so much anymore, but back in the old days, there'd be like a clack, and you would just like pay people, and they would show up and like love whatever was on stage. And
So it's not a
that's
clique.
sort of the idea behind it is like people will applaud when other people applaud,
yeah.
right?
So
And this was before the advent of signs that just said applause,
Got it.
right, at a TV studio or something. So yeah, you'd
So
hire a clack.
it's a clack, not a clique.
You right, and you'd go to like a guy, I guess, and you'd say, "Hey, so I'm going to need 25 people on
Oh,
this day at this time for this show. Here are the tickets.
yeah.
Have them all show up and like spread them around, and then like they like plot it and sort of like is like social prompting and social proof for the rest of the audience. Well, it must be good. All these people are applauding. So
Yeah.
That's what a
That's
clack is. That's your word for today.
the word for today. Today's word is clack. Use it in a sentence.
Clickety clack. Oh,
The Tappet Brothers on Car Talk.
Run click.
So those are the
Clack.
7 points, and then once that's done, and that's sort of like part of the bundle that I'm putting together,
Yeah.
right, is to figure out the positioning and the horse lady type stuff, and then the halo niche, and then from that build a LinkedIn profile for these fractional CMOs. I mean, solopreneurs, I guess generally, but I'm focusing on the fractional CMOs. And then from that, we redo their homepage because now we have our theme and our messaging, and we know what we're trying to do. Like just the homepage, the whole website. Most of them don't have very complex websites anyway. And then rewrite their. I try to keep it to about 10 content slides, but rewrite their sales pitch deck. And then after that, we have. I think what we're adding in is we're going to start a show for CMOs, and we'll start talking to them. And now that they've got their messaging and everything in place, and they know it, should make for a very good interview.
The CMO show.
Yeah, CMO show. Probably do that on Thursdays.
The CMO show on the go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. CMO on the go.
So that's the bundle.
Yeah. That's good. I like it bundled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have 2 slots left for the next one. The next one, which is it's all of these have been done, many, many times, but never sold as a complete bundle before. And so it's half price for 2 more people, and then everyone after that has to pay full price forever
and ever.
Till
death do us part.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Anything else? Any thoughts? Are we done for the week? We hit our half hour.
I do have thoughts, but they're not very good thoughts.
No.
I've been thinking about things, so
I got to get one of those pillows, man.
The pillows are great. I mean, I think I'm a fan of props and stickers, like for short form video. And but I will tell you that those short form videos that I've done that feature one of these have really done much better. Particularly if it kind of flashes on the screen.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good stuff. All right.
Sounds like we're done.
I think we're over. It's over.
All right. That's it for this week. We're back on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.
See you then.
Thanks. See you.
Ciao.